Mic loud enough?
Yeah.
Okay. How, online okay? Good, thank you. All right, so I chose this particular passage because he really does a very good job, as he does everything, of illustrating non-duality and interconnection. And like our way-seeking mind speakers spoke about the net of Indra and interconnectedness, non-separation, which comes from this concept of emptiness. Emptiness means a lack of separation, non-duality. There are a lot of different terms for the same thing. So this is what he had to say. Nirvana, the waterfall. So if you go to Japan and visit a Heiji monastery, just before you enter, you will see a small bridge called Han-shaku-kyo, which means half-dipper bridge. Whenever Dogen Zenji dipped water from the river, he used only half a dipperful, returning the rest to the river again without throwing it away. That is why we call the bridge Han-shaku-kyo, half-dipper bridge. At Eheiji, when we wash our face, we fill the basin to just 70% of its capacity. After we wash, we empty the water towards rather than away from our body. So picture that. You empty the bowl towards you. Ah, okay. Now this expresses respect for the water. This kind of practice is not based on any idea of being economical. It may be difficult to understand why Dogen returned half the water he dipped to the river. This kind of practice is beyond our thinking. When we feel the beauty of the river, when we are one with the river, we intuitively do it in Dogen's way. It is our true nature to do so. But if your true nature is covered by ideas of economy or efficiency, Dogen's way makes no sense. So it'd be more efficient to just dump it out. But dumping it towards us shows respect for the water and a oneness with the water. Okay, that's one illustration. And then he continues, I went to Yosemite National Park and I saw some huge waterfalls. The highest one there is 1,340 feet high, and from it the water comes down like a curtain, thrown from the top of the mountain. It does not seem to come down swiftly as you might expect. It seems to come down very slowly because of the distance. And the water does not come down as one stream, but is separated into many tiny streams. From a distance, it looks like a curtain, and I thought it must be a very difficult experience for each drop of water to come down from the top of such a high mountain. It takes time, a long time, for the water finally to reach the bottom of the waterfall. And it seems to me that our human life may be like this. We have many difficult experiences in our life. But at the same time, I thought, the water was not originally separated, but was one whole river. Only when it is separated does it have some difficulty in falling. It is as if the water does not have any feeling when it is one whole river. Only when separated into many drops can it begin to have or express some feeling. When we see one whole river, we do not feel the living activity of the water. But when we dip a part of the water into a dipper, we experience some feeling of the water. And we also feel the value of the person who uses the water. Feeling ourselves and the water in this way, we cannot use it in just a material way. It is a living thing. Before we were born, we had no feeling. We were one with the universe. This is called mind only, or essence of mind, or big mind. It's also expressed as original face. If you studied Zen for a while, you might have come across this saying, or this koan, I guess it is. What was your face before you were born?
Yeah.
You familiar with that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is it. This is it. It's when before you were born, you were part of the original whole universe. And so he goes on to say, after we are separated by birth from this oneness, as the water falling from the waterfall is separated by the wind and rocks, then we have feeling. You have difficulty because you have feeling. You attach to the feeling you have without knowing just how this kind of feeling is created. When you do not realize that you are one with the river or one with the universe, you have fear. So when we have fear, it's because we don't feel part of the universe, that we're separated and we're all alone. That stands to reason that you would be fearful. Okay, so when you do not realize that you are one with the river or one with the universe, you have fear. Whether it is separated into drops or not, water is water. Our life and death are the same thing. When we realize this fact, we have no fear of death anymore, and we have no actual difficulty in our life. When the water returns to its original oneness with the river, it no longer has any individual feeling to it. It resumes its own nature and finds composure. How very glad the water must be to come back to its original river. If this is so, what feeling will we have when we die? I think we are like the water in the dipper. We will have composure then, perfect composure. It may be too perfect for us just now, because we are so much attached to our own feeling, to our individual existence. For us just now, we have some fear of death, but after we resume our true original nature, there is nirvana. That is why we say to attain nirvana is to pass away. To pass away is not a very adequate expression. Perhaps to pass on, or to go on, or to join would be better. Will you try to find some better expression for death? When you find it, you will have quite a new interpretation of your life. It will be like my experience when I saw the water in the big waterfall. Imagine, it was 1,340 feet high! Exclamation points he has. And I'm reminded of this image, I don't know where I learned this from, but if you imagine a glass of water and you have a water dropper of like food dye, and you put a drop into that water, of the food dye into the water, and the color dissipates and eventually becomes part of that water. That's what this reminded me of our existence after we die. Well, before and after, maybe. So after we die, we return to that original source. I think that's kind of a cool illustration of that. Anyway, so we say everything comes out of emptiness. And remember, that's emptiness is everything. It's everything and everyone in the universe. Everything comes out of emptiness. One whole river or one whole mind is emptiness. When we reach this understanding, we find the true meaning of our life. When we reach this understanding, we can see the beauty of human life. Before we realize this fact, everything that we see is just delusion. Sometimes we overestimate the beauty, Sometimes we underestimate or ignore the beauty because our small mind is not in accord with this reality. To talk about it this way is quite easy, but to have the actual feeling is not so easy. But by your practice of Zazen, you can cultivate this feeling. When you sit with your whole body and mind, and with the oneness of your mind and body under the control of the universal mind, you can easily attain this kind of right understanding. Your everyday life will be renewed without being attached to an old, erroneous interpretation of life. When you realize this fact, you will discover how meaningless your old interpretation was and how much useless effort you had been making. You will find the true meaning of life, and even though you have difficulty falling upright from the top of the waterfall to the bottom of the mountain, you will enjoy your life. Okay. And then, while I was preparing this, I realized that, with this concept of the water, returning to its original source and showing respect for the water, and how it really beautifully illustrates non-separation, I realized that the meal chant that we say, that Norman wrote, acknowledges this fact. And I want to...
Before you turn back, could you read that last sentence again? That you just finished, yeah.
Oh, what did I just say?
Well, no, what you read.
What I read?
Yeah.
Okay. You will find the true meaning of life, and even though you have difficulty falling upright from the top of the waterfall to the bottom of the mountain, you will enjoy your life. Was that what you wanted?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
Right, so what Norman's meal chant acknowledges this non-separation with a focus on food, because it's a meal chant. And let me just say that for you, because it's really beautiful. I had a new understanding of the meal chant from what I just read. So he starts out, as we make ready to eat this food, we remember with gratitude the many people, tools, animals and plants, air and water, sky and earth, turned in the wheel of living and dying, whose joyful exertion provide our sustenance this day. May we, with the blessing of this food, join our hearts to the one heart of the world in awareness and love, and may we together with everyone realize the path of awakening and never stop making effort for the benefit of others. Isn't that beautiful? I just realized how he is acknowledging the emptiness in our existence, our non-separation. And so I thought we would find emptiness today with this little activity I've got in mind. God, what's she going to pull out of that bag? Well, let's find emptiness in a raisin. Now, if you've practiced a while, you've probably done something similar. So, but a little bit different emphasis. So what I'm going to do is pass around this carton of raisins. I'd like you to take at least one. And if you're hungry, take more, because we're going to have you eat them later. And for those of you at home, if you have raisins or a little piece of fruit or something, why don't you take a few moments and grab that now, and we'll take a moment to pass these around. Okay, let's start with Susan. Pass those, thank you. Take at least one, more if you're hungry, like I said. You wanna, oh,
Thank you.
and Elaine behind you. Thank you. All right. Okay. Oh, I guess I'll take some too. All right. Okay, so take the raisins or whatever you have at home and put them in the palm of your hand. Okay, look at it. Look at the raisins. Feel the texture. Smell. Nice, huh? Yeah. I hope everyone likes raisins. Okay. So think about, I'm going to do a kind of a informal guided meditation. Okay. And so consider where these raisins came from. They're originally grapes. So they had to grow somewhere. So consider where they were grown. All right? Think of the soil and the water and the nutrients and the workers. And consider, let's even break that down. Consider the water that gave these grapes nutrition. And every single molecule of that water has been somewhere else and has provided sustenance to other plants and animals and people. How it was rain at some time. It might have been fog.
Yosemite waterfall.
A Yosemite waterfall, yes. Think about the soil that the grapes grew in. Everything that made up that soil, the organic matter, the rocks, the sand, what lives in that soil? The worms, the insects, gophers, whatever dwells in the ground, all have been connected to that particular soil. Think about the sun, oh my goodness, that shined on these grapes to make them grow.
And the water is in the air.
And the water in the air, thank you. The moisture, the humidity in the air also.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere, yes. And think about in the insects, the lizards, the snakes, everything that might have come in contact or been in the neighborhood of these grapes. And then think about the workers that pick these grapes and their families and their lives and where they live, what they have consumed, where they've been in their lives, what they will do in their lives. Think about then after their grapes are harvested, they probably go to some facility to dry them out, package them. Think about all the packaging that goes into this.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this packaging. There's cardboard, there's plastic, there's ink. All of these things connect to these little raisins or whatever fruit you have at home, whatever goodie. Then the packages are transported to the supermarket. Someone had to load those packages and unload those packages, put them on the shelf, and then we bought them. And then we open the package and have a nice treat. You can now eat whatever you have.
Texture.
Was it sweet and delicious?
Mm-hmm.
Now, those raisins, where are they going?
Back to the water in the toilet.
Back to the, thank you, Marilyn.